This is LA's first.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. We're all about manifestation, transformation, and breakthroughs. It's time to claim your birthright of prosperity, vitality, and love. So grab your tea or coffee because together we're awakening the world. May you live your truth. Live from Los Angeles, we come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, align with universal law, and break through all limiting beliefs within our subconscious mind so that we can claim our birthright of prosperity, vitality, and love. So let's do this thing. Today we are on number 20 of 52 of a series of universal law. So today's law is universal law of allowing. So universal law of allowing states, life is a flow of energy. It's an exchange. What you resist persists. And the moment you put a negative meaning on something that has or has not occurred, you instantaneously experience a negative feeling. This is the universe's way of ebbing you towards the things that bring you joy. This law is designed for you to get into the current of life and align with your truth, floating down a river of ecstasy. So any of the areas of life where you're experiencing compulsion, dysfunction, or resisting something is really designed for your awakening, okay? So I remember having the metaphor of imagine that you are going down a river and it's going pretty fast and you don't know and you begin to resist and you want to go slower and you want to do all this stuff and you start clinging on to and trying to swim towards the banks, the shore of the river. And it's hard and you're getting slammed against the side rocks and you're trying to cling on to the rocks. And then anyway, the water ends up kind of making you go downstream anyway. And you end up, getting bruised and cuts and bloody and all kinds of stuff. The next person goes down the river and it's going pretty fast. And they're like, look, I'm just going to go with it. And they just flow. And somehow the river keeps them in the center of the river. And they go faster and faster and faster. And they get down to the bottom of the river and they're like, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing ride. It was like going to Disneyland, right? So what's the difference? The difference is one person really allowed the process and the other person resisted the process. So universal law of allowing is really, I think, another way of putting it is accepting and flowing with your bliss. Okay. So Carl Jung, I think he was one of the first people to contend to say what you resist not only persists, but will grow in size is his statement. What today we just say what you resist persists, right? So the point is, and what he was really saying in the paradoxical aspect of this is what you resist persists, but you always get what you resist, right? So the lessons that we have is when we're not in allowing, we usually get some heartache, we get some hard times, we get a lot of hustle, and we get exhausted. So today, as we dive into universal law of allowing, the goal for me anyway is to enjoy life, to see the lessons, the blessings, and know that people, places, and things stay in our life for reasons, seasons, and lifetimes, right? And that we need to really accept life on life's terms and also be able to accept it and thrive in it. Pivot, okay? So Byron Katie says, when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time, okay? So look, we live in a world where we got to get it done. We live in a world where it's all about hustle, boss girl, and all that stuff. We're in a very intense, energetic time in history right now. And some people are also just staying home and doing nothing and watching Netflix and chilling and being in fear, of everything going on in the world. And that's resisting it as well. So we need to kind of come to a Zen medium in it. What is flow for you? What is the art of allowing for you? What does that mean for you? Okay, so just like money is a currency, it is an exchange. And if you hoard your money, or if you don't allow yourself to receive money, or you only just give and you're stuck in that flow, then it's not a flow of exchange, okay? So we want to really think of it in a way of allowing, pivoting, and flowing, right? When you're flowing down that river, it doesn't mean you're not going to have fear, even though you're flowing with it. You can have fear, but you don't necessarily have to act on the fear. You can go, okay, I feel the fear. I acknowledge it. And what are my choices? If I resist this, I might even get, bruised up more if I reach for that rock on the side or swim against the current. So I acknowledge the fear. I'm going to deal with the fear, and I'm going to, allow the process. Okay. So we have to really get into that be like water. It's I'm into this Zen thing today in this talk. So be like water. It's like we acknowledge that water, what does water do? Water goes downstream. It kind of reforms according to what environment it's in, but it always keeps flowing. And it also is the solvent, right? Water is the solvent. It allows and it also solves. It doesn't look at the problems, it looks at the solutions. I don't know if you guys have ever seen salmon, but salmon, they spawn. And I remember being in Lake Tahoe years ago and being on a hike, and we'd all go on hikes because it was the salmon spawning time. And you could watch the salmon, and they literally swim upstream, right? They literally jump out of the water, they swim up all the way up. It's this really energetically challenging thing. Obviously something that is so in their subconscious. They obviously don't know logically why they do it. I doubt it. It's just like in their entire DNA. So the salmon spawn, and they go up to as far as they can get up. Hopefully they get up to fresh water, and they lay their eggs. And then what happens is the salmon, there's different, I think, types of salmon, and some salmon die once they get to the top, and they lay their eggs, and then their babies are able to be born, if you will, and they are able to go downstream when they're big enough. And other salmon, I believe, either they go back downstream and then they do the whole cycle again every 7 years. And so the point is that there is a time to hustle and there is a time to allow. And the distinction for me is that when I'm feeling like something is going against how I want it to go, life happens, a pandemic happens, a lockdown happens, bombs go off in the world, whatever it is, right? People, do crappy things. Someone could break up with you, a client, something could go weird, whatever it is that it is happening, what you don't want to happen. That's when I practice allowing. When I practice, I'm like, ooh, I don't want to be going this fast down the river or being slammed into, the rock over here, but it is what it is. And now I'm going to follow my bliss. I'm going to do what it takes to handle whatever it is. I'm going to be the solution instead of focusing on the problem, and I'm going to keep in my flow. I'm not going to cling on to that rock and, just get banged and banged and banged against the rock, right? So, and then there's a time to, be that salmon that is sacrificing, that is really hustling and doing and using strength and hustling, if you will. And that is when I'm in that flow, is when I know that I'm in my truth, and I've decided I'm doing something. And part of that is I've got to develop my skill set, and I've got to make things happen because I know in my gut that it's the right thing to do. Just like that salmon knows at a gut level, at a subconscious level, that it's time. It's time to take that marathon. Okay? And there's a time for that. And there's a time for allowing and letting go and accepting and pivoting and being the solution. So really the art of allowing is like being water. Where in life are you not being water? Where are you trying to cling on to certain things and not allowing yourself to just keep flowing in your bliss and in sacrificing for what you know is your truth? And where are you resisting? The universe is always working for us, right? We know that. But if we stay in the gap of suffering, the gap of suffering is wishing people, places, and things and circumstances were different than they are. when you're flowing down a scary river, it's or you get whatever, someone could have a lawsuit, someone could have their car broken down, their family isn't acting how they want, their friends are doing something they don't want, they are in a bad relationship, whatever that is, and they're resisting it, and they're trying to fix, change, and control other people. That is not allowing. Allowing is literally getting into the process of living your truth, living your truth, living your truth, and recognizing that life is working for you and not against you. So I remember years ago in the there was the documentary called The Secret. And I remember watching The Secret, and there was parts of The Secret that were amazing. It was about getting into the vibration and understanding the power of the mind and understanding how we manifest, even through things like the law of transmutation, of holding pictures in our mind and allowing for it to show up regardless of us actually doing or hustling. And then there was some cons, if you will. There's some pitfalls of that movie, meaning that, it was like waiting for the red Corvette to show up in your driveway. Like manifesting, we don't necessarily get what we want, we get what we need, right? So some of my friends, it was interesting because I had a mixed bag of friends, and some of my friends were like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing documentary. I love The Secret. And then some of my friends were like, that is total BS. That is not how you work. You got to hustle for things. You can't sit around and just meditate on it and stuff like that. And the truth is that I agree with both. I agree with both in that I truly believe that, yes, if we have a strong enough consciousness, we could sit on and meditate in the Himalayas and have things show up in our life. Absolutely. The thing is that for most of us, our consciousness is not that clear and powerful yet. We haven't done all of our inner work and all of our spiritual work. So the art of allowing is really, I think it's like, there's a time when you get into meditation and hold in your mind what you are doing and getting into that art of allowing in that space. That's the primary place to get really clear of what is your truth and aligning to that. And then there's also a time in life to accept people, places, and things. Always, always, always. And there's a time to hustle. There's a time to get it done. And so today, as you go into your day, I invite you to begin to look and just become aware, right? The first step in awakening is waking up and becoming conscious, becoming aware and deciding that you're going to allow and you're no longer going to resist and you're no longer going to be codependent in your relationships and you're no longer going to, wish things were different than they are. Step 2, we know, is doing your inner work. So if you're resisting things, then we need to get in and do the trauma work, get in and do the releasing of all the attachment around it, all the reprogram of the subconscious mind. Step 3 is aligning to universal law, which is, of course, aligning to these laws and aligning to your specific truth. Step 2 is birthing your truth, really. And then step 3 is really about living and in alignment with your truth. And then step 4 is affirming every single day in every single way, doing that daily spiritual practice and acting every day with every breath like your water. Be like water. Literally be the solution. Any problems, just it's like water off your back. And then you go and follow your bliss, which is really flowing and always finding that ground, seeking your level of truth, okay? So have a beautiful day, you guys, and may you live in alignment with the universal law of allowing. May you allow yourself to receive. May you allow yourself to be the highest version of yourself. May you allow yourself to see the blessings of all of life. May you allow yourself to be the woman or man that you've always desired to be. May you allow yourself to have a life beyond your wildest dreams. I know it is the truth, and all of life is allowing you and guiding you and with you at all points in time for you to allow. Just you have to receive the greatness that you are, okay? Have a beautiful day, and may you live your truth. Thank you for tuning in to Soulciety and Dr. Erin podcast. If you've had a calling to be a spiritual leader or coach, you can go to soulciety.com and check out our free training. If you've received value here, I would love it if you take a moment and give a 5-star review. In exchange, I have a ton of free gifts for you. Grab your free Awakening book, 40 guided meditations, and digital manifesting masterclass. I also have a free money meditation and worksheet for you so you can begin to break through your scarcity mindset and claim your birthright of prosperity. You can get all of your gifts and learn about our upcoming transformational events in my bio link in both Instagram and Facebook. That's under drerin.tv, which is DRERIN.tv. Also, I'd love to invite you into our free private community on Facebook under groups called Soulciety. That is facebook.com/groups/Soulciety. That's SOULCIETE. Have a divine day and may you live your truth.